لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على أشرف الخلق والأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وقائد مسيرتنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا السلام. And he was the extension of the other imams by being the leader or representing the intellectual, spiritual, moral leadership as imams, as ma'sumin, infallibles. So they are leading people. They are trying to change, the situation, or always to improve people's lives and characters. And this is important and essential. Representing the Prophet the best way. And because we are following the Prophet with what he said, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمْ مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِمَا كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَةِ أَهْلَ بَيْتِي. So I'm going to leave two important things. Allah's book and my household, means the Imams after me. Started with Imam Ali alayhi salam, and with Imam Hujjah Ajallahu ta'ala faraja. And why it is so essential and important to follow our Imams? Because they are representing true Islam, and there is no contradiction between any one of them. So when we look at them, what they have done, you can see a perfect role model in every aspect in your life. And there is no contradiction between any one of them. Just to give you an example. When we see Imam Ali alayhi salam, at the beginning of his life, what he did, and then when he became the Khalifa, and he had to fight those who, stood up against him. He was representing the legitimate, government, the legitimate power, and those who wanted to fight him, or they did fight him, they have no valid excuse. But Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he signed like a peaceful agreement with Muawiyah. Is there any kind of contradiction? The answer is no. Based on the Islamic interest, so one Imam, he had to fight, other Imam, he had to follow another, let's say, way. And the same thing with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when he stood up against Yazid, because he had to stand up against him and to say no to tyrants and to injustice. And with other Imams, until Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam, all of them, they tried to educate the Ummah, people, and also to take care of, their followers. And also they were the teachers of the scholars at that time. So all the scholars from different sects, from Sunnis and Shia, they used to come to the Imams and to get it from their knowledge. So that's why we believe they led, Imams led the movement or the intellectual and spiritual and moral movement in all their lives. And of course, part of what they used to do is to answer any kind of accusation or suspicion. And this is what happened during the time of Al-Ma'mun, for example, about Quran. And the problem was, does the Quran old or new? Like Khalq al-Quran, was it created or not? And it was a big problem, and so on and so forth. And the same problem came at the time of Imam Hassan al-Askari. And of course, we have different kind of answers based on the ulama from different sects, but Madrasatu Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, the school of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salam, they said no, it is not old. It is created. Al-Quran, makhluq, and it is not old, okay? And the proof, and this is very important, they have the proof from Quran. So the Imam said, ما يأتيهم من ذكر محدث إلا استمعوه وهم يلعبون. Comes not unto them admonition like a chapter of the Quran from their Lord as a recent revelation, but they listen to it while they play. So it is a recent revelation. And Abu Hashim, like one of the people at that time, maybe one of the companions, or they know the Imam very well. So it came to his mind about the Quran. Is it like old or new or what? Like, is it created or not? Like it has existed from the existence of God. So then the Imam told him, Ya Aba Hashim, Allahu khaliqu kulli shay. Allahu khaliqu kulli shay wa ma siwahu makhluq. Allah has created everything. So we have basically two things. Islam was imprisoned with one of these very, what we call it, very difficult prisons and very rare prisons in our history, just to punish the Imam more and to affect his soul and affect his spirit. Imagine what happened. That person, he even didn't dare to look at the Imam, at the Imam's eyes. And in this lesson from the Imam, we can see that Imam didn't pretend that he is a pious person, didn't pretend that he is a righteous person. He showed his akhlaq, his spirit, and that person couldn't do anything to him when he saw him. And then instead of oppressing him, he turned to be one of the pious person and the righteous people of that time. And this is a lesson that is telling us that we as mu'mineen, as the followers of Islam and Ahlul Bayt, we should always have no contradiction between what we say, what we believe in, and what we do. Okay? This is very important. To see only one face. We don't have two faces. We have only one face, which is the truth that we are showing our face, which is, inshallah, the pious face. And one of the things I want to talk about today, brothers and sisters, is regardless of all the oppression, injustice happened to the Imam and to the followers of the Imam and to the Shia during the history, imagine there is something amazing, that Shia many times have been oppressed in our history in a way that they were wiped out from many cities. If you look at history during the Fatimiyya or Fatimi state, and when the Ayyubi king came, what did he do? He wiped out Shia. He closed even their mosques, and even that mosque which is called Al-Azhar or Zahra, and it was closed for many years. And he killed people just because they are Shia, so they don't have anything, just to run away and save their lives. Yet Shi'ism didn't disappear from the world. Why is that? Why do we think that this is something needed to be studied? Okay, during our history, we have many examples. This is just an example. And to give you another one, that even in our history, Yaqut al-Hamawi, he wrote in his book in the year it is demolished, there's no buildings. He said, they answered him and they told him, there were three sects, three groups of people are living in the city. They were Shafi'is and Hanafis and Shia. Then what happened? The Shafi'is and Hanafis fought the Shias and they, forced them to leave the city. And of course they killed many of them, they destroyed their houses and so on and so forth. Then what happened? The Shafi'is and Hanafis fought each other and killed each other. Fanaticism is existed during our history. And this is something sad, and this is something really unacceptable by any means. And as if that we cannot accept any kind of differences. One of the ulama, Sheikh Abu Zuhra or Abu Zahra, he wrote in his book, Al-Imam al-Sadiq, he said, why the Ja'fari sect or madhab has this kind of growth, and even it was oppressed. He said there are many reasons. Number one, because of the ijtihad they have. The ulama, they have ijtihad and they will give you your opinion. Number two, they have the different opinions. Like you see one marja saying something, the other marja maybe he says something different. Even it is when the teacher is one of the great mujtahideen, for example, so he said something, but his student who became a marja, he will sometimes disagree with his teacher. And also that this sect have been spread out from China to Europe, and which means that even with the diversity of people and their culture, it has been spread out. Regardless of their differences and their backgrounds and so on and so forth. Sayyid Muhsin al-Amin, in his book, the first chapter of Ayan al-Shia, he says Shia all during the years, like the growth of Shia going up and down, depends on different circumstances. But now they are like almost everywhere. Why is that? Again, why is that? We need to know something very important. Number one, it is because of the work of Ahlul Bayt, of the Imams. And because they were representing, the highest level of knowledge. So if you want to seek knowledge, go to the Imams. Now, if you want to seek ibadah and to look at the best people in their ibadah, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go to Ahlul Bayt and look at them. If you wanna know the right stance in politics, for example, go and ask Ahlul Bayt and they will give you the right answer. So, who were solving people's problems? Ahlul Bayt. They were living with the people, they were helping them. They are not living in big mansions and forgot about people. No, they were part of them. So they were serving their communities. They were educating them. So with that, people will love them, be loyal to them, and follow them. This is another example. Another example, because of the authentic narrations that they are narrating, there is no contradiction between what they are saying. And this is also something important and worth to be studied. So brothers and sisters, now we claim we are the followers of Ahlul Bayt. Yes, that's right. And we believe that following Ahlul Bayt is not a privilege, it is a responsibility, as Imam told us. When you say, I am a student of Harvard, for example, okay, you are giving yourself like a high credit, or like another famous maybe university. But when you say, I belong to the school of Ahlul Bayt, which means that you belong to the school of the Prophet ﷺ himself, it is really a high and serious responsibility. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be to this level of, holding this kind of responsibility and to follow the legacy of Ahlul Bayt in everything they have said and everything they have done in every aspect in our lives. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونسأله سبحانه وتعالى أن يصلي على خير خلقه محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى وصيه أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام وعلى بضعة الرسول الزهراء البتول عليه السلام وعلى صفقي الرحمة وإمامي الحسن وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة القائم المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أنصاره وشيعته ومستشهدين بين يديه. Brothers and sisters, I'm advising myself and advising you of what Imam Hassan al-Askari advised us and what he told us to do. He said, أوصيكم بتقوى الله والورع في دينكم والاجتهاد لله وصدق الحديث وأداء الأمانة إلى من ائتمنكم من بر أو فاجر وطول السجود وحسن الجوار فبهذا جاء محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So he was advising everyone, not just those people who lived at his time. It is for all his followers, and we believe that we are his followers. So what he said, I command you to fear Allah, to have taqwa. Taqwa, brothers and sisters, something is not going to happen within one day or a blink of an eye. And no, it takes time. It takes maybe years to reach this kind of level of taqwa or to be perfect in taqwa. One of our ulama, he wasn't seen smiling for a long time. So they saw him smiling after a long time. They asked him, why you are smiling? He said, Alhamdulillah, after struggling for 25 years, I can say my deeds, what I am doing, has zero riya. There's no showing off in it. I have done this only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, struggling for 25 years, it's not easy. Just to give you an idea. So we need to struggle and keep struggling. So this is the first thing. And then he said, show piety to your religion. So when we claim that we are religious people, we need to show piety, not to have this kind of contradiction between what we say and what we do. Work hard for Allah's sake. Okay? Yes. Maybe when you are advising someone, when you are enjoining the right, forbidding the wrong, doing Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy al Munkar, you will see many people, who don't like what you are doing. You will be criticized, you will be attacked, you will be this and that, you will be called names. Are you going to give up? No. This is what the Imam told us. Work hard for Allah's sake, because what you are doing is very important and essential. Let me give you an example. One of our ulama was asked, old days in Iraq, some of the drivers, like bus drivers, they weren't religious people. So they will turn on the radio with some songs, corrupt songs. So one of the religious people, he asked that marja, that alim, he asked him, say it. We travel every day, going back and forth, telling them they are not going to turn it off. Are we supposed to talk to them and tell them or not? He said yes. I said why? He said, number one, because if no one is talking about this issue, like this is a munkar, you need to stop it, so people will think that no one can do this and it is dead. So Amr Ma'ruf and Nahy Anil Munkar is dead. No more it is alive in our life. Okay? And this is one. Number two, you say this, maybe another person will say, then another person will say, and then that person will be affected and will change this kind of habit. You see, we need always to struggle for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And return the deposits or trusts to their owners, whether they are pious or sinful. And this is very important. Life based on what? On this kind of agreement. If I will say, okay, I will keep up my promises and agreements with you if you're a pious person. If you are Shia, or if you are Sunni, or if you are Jewish, or if you are like Christian, this is not life. It's based on respecting your agreement with others. Okay, you need to give up trust to others, regardless of their religion. They are good or bad, sinful people or pious people. This is essential in Islam. Prostrate yourselves before Allah for a long time. Why He is telling us to prolong our sujood? You know, in many narrations saying that the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be closer to Allah while he is in this position of sujood. Because you are telling him, I am your servant. You'll be very humble with your Creator. And it is going to affect our soul, affect our actions. And also is going to ease things for us when we are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are going to feel this kind of power while we are connecting with Allah, not to this materialistic, let's say, figures in this life. And then he said, and treat your neighbors courteously. Like, show your kindness to your neighbor. You see in this saying of the Imam, he didn't say what kind of neighbors. Regardless of their religion, their color, your neighbor is a human. And Jewish and so on and so forth. So we are going to build barriers between us. And these barriers and walls will grow up, and as if they are strangers, we don't know why you are doing this and that. But if I know him, if I know about them, and they know about me, so all these like walls, Allah will be removed. So this is one of the reasons. And one of our ulama, he was living in Syria, and he said, I lived 10 years. There's a person saw him that there was a janazah, and he followed that janazah. They took the janazah to Al-Masjid Al-Amawi to pray on the janazah. Then they asked that Sayyid, the Shia scholar, to lead the prayers of Mayyit. So that person, he said, I was surprised, I was shocked. Why it happened? He's a Shia among Sunnis, and then he prayed that place. Then he approached him and asked him, Sayyid, how come that you became the Imam of the, the Salah? He said, you know what? I lived here for 10 years. They didn't like me, they hated me. Okay? They insulted me in different ways, took off my mama, they threw stones on me and so on and so forth. And I was so patient, I didn't do anything to them, I showed them love and respect, compassion, because he knew me very well. He wrote a wasiyah in his will. I want this Sayyid to pray Salat al-Mayyit only. And this is what the Imam said. وَعُودُوا مَرْضَاهُمْ, visit their ill ones, and attend their funeral ceremonies, visit their ill ones, and fulfill their rights, tell the truth, and return the deposit to their owners, and conduct courteously with people. I am pleased if people point to you and say, this is Shia, when you behave piously. So brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, to act like what the Imams want to do. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the true followers of Ahlul Bayt. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, to accept our deeds, to forgive us our sins, and inshallah to answer our hajat, and to be the speedy recovery for the sick ones, and to remove inshallah this crisis of coronavirus from all of us. اللهم طهر قلبي من النفاق وعملي من الرياء ولساني من الكذب وعيني من الخيانة إنك تعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا بعد الحمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أبو علي نرجع السجادة.
لحظة هذا